My name is Daniel Hayes. I'm 38 years old, and until not long ago, I believed I had everything a man could want: love, success, and purpose. I built a cybersecurity startup from scratch, turned it into a seven-figure business, and came home every night to a woman I thought would be by my side for the rest of my life. I was wrong. What I didn't know was that while I was building an empire for both of us, Alicia, my wife, was plotting to take it all. We met 10 years ago, back when I was still working as a lead developer for a fintech company in downtown Toronto. She was a communications consultant with a voice that turned heads and a presence that held attention. I was shy, analytical, always second-guessing. She was bold, expressive, magnetic. We balanced each other, or so I thought. In hindsight, I think she enjoyed the control from the start. I mistook it for confidence, for vision. The first time she told me she believed in me, I felt unstoppable. I remember the night clearly: cheap takeout, storm outside, my resignation letter glowing on my laptop screen. "You're brilliant, Daniel," she said. "You shouldn't waste your brain making someone else rich." She looked me in the eyes, and I believed her. 2 weeks later, I quit. 6 months later, I launched Hayes Logic, my baby, my blood, my life's work. The first 2 years were hell. I lived off instant noodles and investor rejections. But Alicia stuck around. She cheered me on when the servers crashed. She brought coffee during 3 a.m. coding marathons. She even helped write proposals. Eventually, clients started trickling in, then flooding. We grew, fast. And as we grew, so did my trust in her. I gave her full access: emails, contracts, payroll, even the company card. Because when someone shares your bed, it's easy to let them into your vault. In our 3rd year, I suggested she take an official role. "You're already doing the work," I said. "Why not make it formal?" She smiled and kissed me on the cheek. "I don't need the title, baby. I'm already your partner." It sounded sweet at the time. I didn't realize then how dangerous it is to put someone in the center of your business without putting anything in writing. It started changing in small, almost imperceptible ways. She began traveling more, even though we didn't have international clients. "Networking," she'd say. "Building PR opportunities." Her outfits changed. Her tone changed. She was more impatient with me, more distant. And I was so buried in investor meetings and product launches, I barely noticed. Or maybe I just didn't want to. Then, one evening, I was reviewing the quarterly budget. There was a wire transfer I didn't recognize: $12,500 to a firm called Orion Advisory. I searched through our records. No contracts, no invoices. I called Alicia. She said, "Oh, that's a branding consultancy I'm exploring. Nothing big." I let it go. I had a keynote speech to give in 2 days, but my gut twisted. And when your gut speaks, you better listen. Weeks later, a junior developer came to me and asked why we were onboarding a new project lead. "We're not hiring anyone," I said. He looked confused. Alicia signed the contract. The guy started today. That was the moment everything cracked. I opened our internal dashboard: access logs, team updates. She had been hiring without my knowledge, making decisions I had no say in. And the worst part? She had revoked my admin access to most of the shared files. I confronted her that night. She didn't deny it. "Daniel, I've been doing everything while you've been playing the visionary. I deserve more than just your gratitude." I blinked. "You've been running my company behind my back." "Our company," she corrected, her voice calm, too calm. You wouldn't be here without me. That wasn't love. That was ownership, and I finally saw it. Have you ever realized, far too late, that someone wasn't your partner, but your predator? Drop a hole if you've ever trusted the wrong person too deeply. Someone out there will understand. The next morning, I checked our equity filings. A silent partner, Orion Partners, had acquired 15% of Hayes Logic. My signature was on the document, except it wasn't mine. The slant was wrong. The initials didn't match. Someone had forged my approval. And since Alicia had access to everything, it didn't take a genius to figure it out. I contacted my attorney, Jasmine. She'd helped me with early-stage contracts, and I trusted her completely. When I sent her the documents, she responded within 10 minutes. Daniel, this is bad. Really bad. She could take full control if we don't act fast. Full control? I repeated. My throat was dry. She's been transferring power bit by bit. If she gets a majority, you could be voted out of your own company. I couldn't breathe. This wasn't just betrayal. This was theft, disguised in the language of business. I scoured old emails, financial logs, even our Slack messages. She had removed me from major chains. She had been feeding false numbers to the board. She had created a narrative where I was the negligent founder, and she was the rescuer. That night, I sat on the edge of our bed while she packed for another work trip. I didn't say anything. I just watched. And for the first time, she looked nervous. You're quiet, she said. So are you, I replied. We didn't kiss goodbye. The next 48 hours were a storm. Jasmine and I filed an emergency injunction to freeze the company's shares. We submitted evidence of forgery, unauthorized decisions, and digital tampering. We brought in a forensic analyst to validate the forged signature. It was conclusive. Alicia came back early. She walked into the office like nothing had happened. But when she saw the legal notice pinned to the conference room door, her face went pale. I didn't confront her. I didn't need to. The truth had already started unraveling, and this time, I had documentation. Later that week, Alicia's lawyer contacted us with a settlement offer. She was proposing to buy out my remaining shares using company funds. Buy me out of my own company. The arrogance of it was staggering. Jasmine chuckled when she read the email. She thinks she still has leverage. That's good. Let her think that. But I wasn't interested in revenge. I was interested in exposure. This wasn't just about me anymore. It was about protecting what I'd built, what my team had sacrificed for. I dug deeper, found emails where she shared client data with an outside party, confidential presentations forwarded to private Gmail accounts, voice recordings from office meetings she didn't know were archived. This wasn't negligence. It was calculated destruction. One of my employees, Tessa, came to me quietly one afternoon. Daniel, I think Alicia offered me a position at a competing firm. She said you were stepping down. I nodded slowly. Thank you for telling me. That was the final confirmation I needed. She wasn't just trying to take my company. She was preparing to replace it, with herself at the top and me erased from the narrative. Jasmine and I acted quickly. We froze her corporate email access, filed official fraud claims, and submitted everything to the board. At the emergency meeting, I presented our case. Timeline, evidence, forged documents, NDAs violated, client trust broken. Some of the board members, who had once admired Alicia's charm, looked physically ill. She didn't even show up to defend herself. When the board voted to remove her from all internal operations pending full investigation, I felt nothing. No joy, no triumph, just a hollow sense of relief. Like watching a fire you didn't start finally burn out. I went home that night to an empty apartment and made myself a grilled cheese sandwich. It was the first thing I'd cooked in weeks. It tasted like freedom. The divorce proceedings were merciless. She fought hard, claimed emotional damages, made up narratives about how I had abandoned her for work, tried to play the victim. But the evidence spoke louder than her performance. Her settlement requests were denied. She walked away with no ownership, no control, no credibility left. I heard later she tried launching her own startup. It folded within 4 months. Investors don't forget that kind of scandal. Reputation is a currency you can't steal. You have to earn it. And she had spent hers to buy betrayal. Months passed. Slowly, my company healed. So did I. I hired new staff, made company culture transparent, installed new security protocols, emotional and digital, and most importantly, I started writing again. Long-form blog posts about leadership, trust, and how to survive betrayal. They went viral. Turns out, a lot of people had trusted the wrong person. Then one day, I got a handwritten letter in the mail. No return address. Just one sentence. I never thought you'd actually fight back. I stared at the words. No name, no apology. Just proof that she underestimated me, like everyone did before I became who I am now. If you've ever been underestimated, if someone tried to write you out of your own story, don't stay silent. Your power isn't in revenge. It's in your comeback. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and comment, I reclaim my power. I don't know where Alicia is now. I don't check. I don't need to. Some ghosts don't need exorcism, they just need distance. These days, I live quietly. I go for morning runs. I mentor young founders. And sometimes I sit in the conference room at Hayes Logic, my name still on the door, and think about everything I almost lost. But the truth is, I didn't lose. I learned. I adapted. I survived. And maybe that's the real victory. Not in what you keep, but in who you become when everything falls apart.